Welcome back once again for the second time, for the third time, possibly the last time. We're back, me and my dog Lily. Hunter's not here this specific review. He didn't see the movie, and since we don't want it to be where half of us talk and then the other half doesn't, we're gonna sometimes do these type of reviews where it's more just a solo person. So today I'm going to be talking about How to Train That Dragon Part 3, and let's just get into my fake review, my fake synopsis, and then my real review. In How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World, witness the surprisingly strong trilogy come to a satisfying and heart-wrenching conclusion. With themes of legacy, family, and letting go, watch our favorite leading man struggle against not just his new enemy, but also his own goal of making sure his family can grow up safe, no matter the cost of his own desires. If you thought I was talking about How to Train Your Dragon 3, you would only be 33% correct, because I was also talking about Toy Story 3 and War for the Planet of the Apes. That's right, they're all the same movie. Wouldn't you know? So to get into the actual meat and potatoes of what I thought about this movie, I surprisingly enjoyed it. I'm surprised by how much I kind of threw this. I didn't give it enough credit when I saw the trailers. It looked good enough, but I mean, I'm too old for these movies now. These movies aren't made for me. These movies are made for someone half of my age and lower. But when I saw it, I was embarrassed that I was walking in to see this movie next to families and kids. They probably thought I was some sort of freak. But I really like this movie. Yeah, it's very strong. It's very good. It's got great character moments. I'm just going to go through one of my main positive aspects, which is the themes. The themes that I talked about, letting go. It has a theme of stagnation, like letting yourself stagnate in where you are without real growth, and trying to almost fight that growth because you want to keep things the way they are. It's got themes of legacy as well, and protecting your family, protecting your flock, your group, your sheep. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed all that. I think a lot of it worked for me. What I spoke about whenever I mentioned War for the Planet of the Apes and Toy Story 3, I mentioned the fact that they are all kind of the same movie, which they are, if you look at the vague structure of how they're all put together. But what makes all of these movies unique and special, and I think among each other's ranks as some of the best in each of their respective trilogies, is the fact that they do interesting things with the characters, they have interesting plot developments, and they have great set pieces. And I think How to Train Your Dragon 3 definitely achieves all that it was trying to accomplish. And I give it applause for that. It's a 9-year trilogy, started in 2010. How to Train Your Dragon 2 came out in 2014, and then this one obviously came out just this past weekend in 2019. It's 2019, right? And I really liked all the character moments. This is a slight spoiler. It's something that wasn't given away in the trailer, but it's not something that spoils necessarily the fact that, like, all the ending stuff, that's not what I'm going to get into. It's funny. I was talking about it with a friend about how I wanted to change up the way I do these, which is I wanted to be more specific with how the plot goes in these movies, but at the same time, I really feel like you just need to walk in and see it, so I do recommend go watch it, ASAP as possible. But if you really just want to hear my thoughts about it, which is hopefully why you're here. I mean, granted, I probably begged you to watch this video, but I mean, hey, who cares? The one thing I want to talk about that is a bit of a spoiler is the villain. The villains in these movies I've kind of been bored with. You either have a man who knows as much about dragons, but he's evil as Hiccup does. You either have a giant alpha dragon that's trying to be the dragon god, or you have both of them. And this movie actually surprised me with evil, stoic monster man that has these really cool scorpion dragons that I was really into. They had really good designs. But he is a perfect antagonist to Hiccup, played by Jay Baruchel, the main character man. And because of the fact that they both have the same origin story, but they both took, at the fork in the road, they both took two very separate paths. When they both came into contact with their own Toothless, Hiccup obviously chose to save the Night Fury and then, befriend it and learn all these things about dragons and how they're not that bad and they're misunderstood. And then Grimmel, the main villain, the main Grinch-looking animated monster man, he ended up taking the decision to kill the Night Fury. That made him very popular in his town. Frankly, what would have happened to Hiccup had he killed Toothless? He would have been successful, accepted, he would have chased that feeling, and that's exactly what Grimmel ends up doing. And I like the fact that, in some ways, Grimmel's character is exactly what Hiccup wants to be, which is a calculated man that people respect, they look up to, they fear him, and that's kind of what he is afraid of not living up to as the leader of his own tribe and group, is the fact that he still kind of feels like this kid that just found a Night Fury, and then all these things kind of happened. But he's finally, in this movie, he has to really grow up and become a leader, which I think is very powerful. And it's kind of funny how, if you were my age when you saw How to Train Your Dragon, then these movies have kind of grown up with you. How to Train Your Dragon came out when I was 11, and then 2014, there was a more mature How to Train Your Dragon and How to Train Your Dragon Dose. And then this one is like, it's a finale, and it feels really, really deserved. Like, I was very surprised when I walked out of this movie very much enjoying it. There's some kiddish elements to it, like Jonah Hill's character, or Kristen Wiig's character, or McLovin's character. But, I mean, that's kind of side stuff. They're not put in the main part of the story. They're not, like, interjected in there everywhere in every scene. Like, let's say a Jar Jar Binks, where it's like, oh yeah, this guy, he's kind of instrumental to the plot. But he's also, you know, wacky. He's a funnier character than we ever had before.
If we get Jar Jar working. Because he's a funnier character than we've ever had in any of the movies before.
Well, probably the biggest thing I enjoyed about this movie is the fact that the themes all tie into the main part of the story. It's like, it's in there. It's ingrained. It's baked in. There's no getting rid of it. And I really enjoyed that. These themes of, like, frankly, desperation almost. Growing up, stagnation, like I mentioned earlier in this movie. But they're crucial to how everything works. And whenever you have a theme that's so heavily put into that, like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 all being about family, acceptance, growth, love, caring for one another. And you can see it in almost every single aspect of that film. And it's just the same way in How to Train Your Dragon 3. And I really appreciated that. The biggest thing for me in terms of problems and negative aspects of this movie is the pacing. Everything kind of just happens. It doesn't feel like there's a plot movement and progression. It just kind of, they go see a place, they go do a thing, they go find this place, and then bam, the movie's over. That's the one thing I will say, is that it has its uneven structure about when things are happening and when character moments are happening. It's like, okay, we're going to do the plot and then we're going to stop for some character moments. And then once the character moments have caught up with the plot, then we're going to do some more stuff. It's not like that all the time. Again, it's not a major negative about the film, but I figured I should mention it just in case. And I think that's it. I give it a recommend out of 10. See it if you can out of 10. I'm really surprised that this is the first positive review I'm putting out this year. I was expecting, way back when to love Glass. I was expecting way back when to love the Lego Movie 2, the second part. And, I mean, I've kind of slept brick. And I guess that's the end of my review. I highly recommend it, and it's kind of funny that I